Liverpool, the Premier League champions, and we heard a little bit of it there from Gary Neville in our opener, calling Florian Wirtz a little boy yesterday. He said he's been chucked around the pitch. It's very reductive, too reductive to say he's either good or he's not. So why do you think we're not seeing the best of Florian Wirtz at the moment?
I just think it takes players time, and obviously if he came to a Liverpool team that were in good form, it'd be easy to adjust. At the moment he's coming to a Liverpool team that are not in good form. I know they're back of beating Real Madrid and Aston Villa. Everyone thought they'd turn the corner. In the first half yesterday they didn't turn up. There was no intensity and it was a big call, and I thought it was the right call to play Wirtz in a game like that against Man City, where there'll be space and he can get on the ball and make things happen. But me personally, I still think he will come good. I do think it, but it just depends how much time they are going to give him. They will have to give him time. They paid over 100 million for him. I still think he's an exciting player, but obviously Gary Neville thinks, and he did. He wasn't nowhere near it yesterday. So Gary Neville's 100% spot on. I'm not questioning what he said, because he's 100% spot on what he says about Wirtz. But in the future, I do see him.
Okay, so there are 3 points I want to get into: physicality, mentality and position. Which one do you want to do first?
Wow. Well, mentality is not the best in mind.
So
let's do that.
Mentality is, from what we hear, he's quite a shy, quiet lad, Florian Wirtz.
Yeah.
I wonder whether that combination of his personality, which is absolutely fine, but of the pressure of the price tag, those 2 things combined are making it difficult for him at the moment.
Yeah, maybe so. There's pressure on him because he paid a lot of money, but surely he's got that experience. He's a German international. This is going to happen. You're a big player. You've done ever so well in the Bundesliga. You get that big move to the Premier League, which is the best league. It's a different league than the Bundesliga. And mentality, you got to think is, they've paid that much money. It's only a price tag. I know at the back of your mind you still think that, but you've got the ability to go in there, and they paid that much money. If it was me and someone paid that much money for me, my first belief would be, I'm going in there because full of confidence. The manager believes in me, my players will believe in me, and I'll show the fans I'm a very good player. At the moment, it's not working out for him, but that's because he's quiet. He's adapting, coming to a new country. It does take time, and I say give him time, and he will produce, because you don't lose your talent. He's a talented individual, but the things people question him, Rob, is can he do it in the Premier League?
And part of that Premier League thing, and Pep Guardiola talked about it last season and when he was rebuilding his own team, that he thinks so much more of the game now is physicality.
Yeah.
Wirtz last season, these stats have come from a piece in the Telegraph today, won 35% of his duels this season, 11% of his aerial duels. Last season, that was 45 and 20% when he was playing in the Bundesliga. So is that increased physicality a problem for him?
Physicality, you've got to be physical. But see, it's a difficult one because there's players that are not the biggest in the Premier League that can produce. But I always say that the physicality in the position that he plays in, if he's going to play in the 10, you've got to be able to shift that ball quickly, have 1 and 2 touches and create stuff. And it's the timing of your runs. When you're going to make a run, he's not going to be the quickest when he plays on the left to go past people. But what he's very good at is getting into little pockets. But it's just, I've seen him a few times where he's been on the ball and he doesn't see a midfielder coming at the back of him and nicking the ball. So that's just awareness and, as he's saying, getting up to speed of the Premier League. Physicality, I'm not saying he's going to be like someone like a Haaland who's a big centre-forward. If you're physicality and you're saying it's a big centre-forward that's to play against big centre-halves and back to goal, that's not Wirtz's game. So I don't think he's going to struggle like that. But there is times where he can get pushed off the ball too easily. That's not his game. He's a slight frame who's going to create stuff. So, as I say, it's just going to take time. When Liverpool start playing well, I think you'll see Wirtz start playing well.
Just a final point then, before we head to Anfield, to speak about his position. Again, this piece about him today says, well, last season, the majority of touches, or more touches, were out on the left-hand side.
Yep.
Whereas Liverpool, the theory was that they've bought him to play as a 10.
Yep.
Now, A, what is his best position? And B, are you losing too much, particularly of Dominic Szoboszlai, by not playing him in that position? And you might make the argument he's been Liverpool's best player this season.
No, he has. And even when he's played at right back, he's probably been their best player. So it's difficult. I think that midfield three has to stay how it is at the minute. McAllister, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai.
The ones that won them the title.
Yeah, the one the title. I think until Wirtz gets up and running. And then might be a time where you can rotate and put Wirtz into that. I think his best position at the moment has to be on the left. But he's not going to be a winger. He's going to go past his fullback on the outside. That is where Liverpool are going to have a fullback like a Robertson or Kirkes, who struggled at the time, has to go around him. And if you go around him and you attract the fullback or the winger to go that side, that will enable Wirtz more time and space in them little pockets, the number 10 pockets where you can go and cause problem, but not playing as that number 10 in the 10 on the left-hand side, like how Arsenal do it ever so well sometimes when they have Eze, when he's not playing in the 10 row on that left where he wants to come into pockets, because he's not going to be a player that goes on the outside. So I just think it takes time. If he come into a team that was winning and flying, I think you'd see the best of him. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time for Isak.
I think it's interesting at the moment, isn't it? Because we saw him playing from the left-hand side against Real Madrid, and for me, that was one of his best performances in a Liverpool shirt so far. And he did provide that chance for Dominic Szoboszlai that Dominic actually apologised to him after the game for not finishing, albeit it was a good save from Thibaut Courtois. And we probably saw a little bit more energy from him in that game against Real Madrid. I think the way he was able to get around the pitch, it seemed almost where he was playing from the left-hand side, it almost like he had a little bit more of a free roll as well, because he was popping up on the right-hand side at times as well, and certainly that's where the opportunity for Szoboszlai came from as well. But it's difficult. I keep going back, and I think Clinton touched on it as well, in fact, needing time to settle in. It's a big adjustment, not just coming to a new league, but coming to a side like Liverpool as well. I think we've seen that with the likes of Milos Kerkez. Go back a few years, we saw it when Andy Robertson first arrived at the football club as well. It took him a little bit of a while to settle. He wasn't necessarily an automatic first choice in that respect either. But look at the success that he's had. So again, I think Clinton's right. You do need to be patient at times as these players make an adjustment. I think the physicality is something that Florian Wirtz will get used to in the Premier League. And again, you know, maybe against Real Madrid, it wasn't as physical a game as it was against Manchester City. But at the same time, don't forget, that team as a whole wasn't operating the same way as it did against Real Madrid. And they go back to the issues that they had at the back. I mean, I think after the victories over Aston Villa and Madrid, we thought that Liverpool had refound that defensive solidity, as well as being able to be effective with the press, whereas against Manchester City they never got anywhere near those kind of levels, certainly the levels that we saw against Real Madrid. And at the back, Konate looked so solid against Real Madrid, for instance, yet it was a little bit more erratic against Manchester City. Look at the mess that there was for the penalty, for instance, that was awarded to City on the day. So when their team's not operating, that makes it difficult for someone like Florian Wirtz as well. Add to that, of course, you can argue that the side isn't gelling completely because of the injury problems that they've had. That's been difficult integrating the new players into the system as well. It is a case of time, but I would expect Arne Slot to get it right. And there's still plenty of way to go in this title race, don't forget, albeit Liverpool obviously being written off at the moment with that 8-point deficit to Arsenal.
Well, that is the question then, Vinny, as to whether they are still in it. I don't know if you were with us and to hear Clinton giving them a 10% chance of winning their title, but not too many teams lose more than 6. Well, no teams, in fact, in a 38-game season have lost 6, or more than 6 rather, and gone on to win it. So that's the challenge ahead for Liverpool.
Yeah, that's where it's difficult now, isn't it? Because they've got to be pretty much perfect if they're going to lift the Premier League title and retain the title that they won so well last season. But at the same time, it has been done before. There have been bigger deficits later in the season as well. Go back to 2018, 2019, when Manchester City ultimately were champions, but they trailed Liverpool by 10 points around about mid-December at that point as well. So it is doable. But I think if it is going to happen, and I know Arne Slot wouldn't really be drawn too much on it yesterday, but he said he'd prefer to look at the table midway through the season and see exactly where Liverpool are at, and then he can make a judgment call as to whether or not they're in the title race at the moment. But I think what he's more interested in is finding that winning momentum. We thought, as I said earlier, we thought that they'd found it with those victories over Aston Villa and Real Madrid, and were really going to cause Manchester City a problem. That didn't materialise. Now they have to pick themselves up again, find that winning momentum from somewhere, and see exactly where that takes them. And then, as Arne Slot says, once they're halfway through the season, they can then decide whether or not they still have an opportunity to really go for that, go for the Premier League title again.
Vinny, thank you very much indeed. Just one more point before we go to Dave Clinton. A lot's been made in recent years of the success of Liverpool's recruitment, particularly under Jurgen Klopp. When Michael Edwards was there, we know he's back there now. But certain players were so good because they fitted the system, like a Gini Wijnaldum, for example. That would be the overriding concern about this summer, is all the players are good in their own right, but you do wonder whether there's been the right amount of thought as to how it's all going to work with all of them.
No, yeah, you're right. Listen, I all think they're good players. The thing is, I think Vinny made a good point where it was different when Andy Robertson come in. It took Andy Robertson 2 months to get into the team. So the style of play, the way he's going to play, and you see Kirkes, he struggled at the minute because Kirkes is not playing for Bournemouth anymore. You've gone to a huge football club in Liverpool, and the tactics are totally different. Sometimes as a player, you need time to bed in, and I think throwing all these players in straight away, which Arne Slot have done, that's why they've struggled, because as I said, they at times start of the season, people say they weren't playing well, but they were still winning football matches. It's being highlighted now because they're not winning football matches. So players are, you're highlighting players that are not performing to the level, but it's not just the new players that have come in. It's the players that have been there before that are not performing. Szoboszlai's been outstanding, Van Dijk's been good, but someone like a Konate has struggled massively, big time. And then Vinny's right. Against Real Madrid, he was outstanding. And you go back to the Premier League, it's different. And one thing I would say is Wirtz against Real Madrid was outstanding. It's a different tempo when you're playing European football, Champions League football, to the Premier League where it's fast and quick. So he's just got to get up to speed. But yeah, I wouldn't write Liverpool off. The only reason it's going to be difficult is Arsenal need to lose 3 or 4 games and Liverpool basically have to win every game. That's why I've given them a 10% chance. But it's been done before and they have got quality.
All right, it's almost like you knew what was coming when you talked about some of those champions struggling from last.
I just played him in, didn't I?
You absolutely did play him in. Then went on a tangent back round to talk about something else, but then you can play him in again. Dave, good evening.
Yes, good evening. And Clinton talked about him a little bit earlier on. Manchester City targeted a weakness in the Liverpool backline and they went for it very efficiently, and it is Ibrahima Konate. Now, what happened when he got the ball? Essentially, they basically let Ibrahima Konate have the ball. So out of everyone on the pitch, he was allowed the most space when receiving the ball. On average, a City player was more than 12 metres away from him every time he got it. Overall, he was available for 92 passes. That's the most out of all the outfield players. So how did City do it? Well, we can show you. Liverpool have the restart in this moment. They want to begin their build-up phase. Watch the movement of Erling Haaland. He covers off Virgil van Dijk. Konate is the player. And here the ball goes back to the keeper. Haaland again covers off Van Dijk in the lower part of your screen there. And Silva covers off the pass in the middle. The ball goes out to Konate. And again, Liverpool lose the ball. It cannot be retained. So of all the talent on the pitch for Liverpool, it was Konate who had the most touches of anyone in the match and attempted the most passes. He had 15.9% share of Liverpool's total passes in the game and also featured in 48 passing moves during the game. Again, the most out of anyone on the field. Liverpool's most creative players kept away from being on the ball. And what about Manchester City? Well, here are their average positions. Remember, these average positions are taken from on-ball actions within the game. And it's actually a similar feel to what we showed you last Monday for Manchester City against Bournemouth. Traditionally, you expect to see the Guardiola wingers out towards the touchline. But it's actually the fullbacks that are providing the width at the moment for Manchester City, with Jeremy Doku and Ryan Cherki inside the pitch. Doku was absolutely electric in that position once again. He was fabulous. Manchester City have found a way to win once more. Clinton, was this the best you've seen Doku in a City shirt?
Yeah, it was the best. He's been good this season, but he's got to get consistency up there. But that's the best I've seen him. I felt sorry for young Bradley. He's had to do with 2 tricky wingers in the week. He was brilliant against Vinicius Jr., but I thought Doku was unplayable at times, and he can cause all kinds of problems. The only thing I'd say to him, which he did get in this game, and Pep said it, add more goals to your game and be more consistent and with your crossing and that. But I thought he was a handful. I thought he was fantastic. He was on the front foot. He caused a lot of problems. And City are pairing. When the players behind Haaland play like they're playing at the moment, it's hard to contain. But yeah, I thought he was outstanding, and he's got a lot of ability, and I do like him as a player.
Do you think that he has been given a little bit more freedom? Because one of the criticisms, and it is difficult to criticise Pep Guardiola, who's done quite a bit in 1,000 games as a manager now, is that players like Grealish, who played on that left-hand side, weren't able to express themselves as much as we see Jack doing now at Everton.
I know what you're saying.
Whereas Doku, it feels a little bit as though he's saying, well, go on and take people on a little bit more.
Yeah, you feel like when Jack was there, he had to stay there on the left and be rigid, and Jack likes to come involved and get involved and be on the ball, where I think Doku likes to stay on that left-hand side. He is more of a natural winger, but he didn't just hug the touchline, Robert. He came into little pockets. So I think, yeah, Pep's gave him a license to go and express yourself and go and showcase your ability. And I thought he was brilliant. It's one of the best performances I've seen from Doku since he's been in the Premier League. If he gets these consistent level high, the world's his oyster, because he's so talented. And you ask any fullback, the one thing they don't like playing against is pace. He's got loads of pace and trickery. He can go outside, he can go inside, as he showed for his goal. Goes past Konate, and he just bends it. It's a fantastic finish. But I thought he was outstanding, and they looked very good going forward, Man City, yesterday.
So in the end, it looked pretty comfortable for Manchester City, winning it by 3-0. There was one moment where it looked as though it was heading to 1-1 when Virgil van Dijk headed in a corner, but it didn't stand. We'll get Clinton's take in just a moment. This is how the discussion went on Ref Watch with Dermot Gallagher and Jay Bothroyd this morning.
The VAR's not there to judge. It's not a panacea. It's not going to say, you've got this right, Jay, you've got this wrong.
Surely that's what VAR's for, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not. That's a complete myth. If the VAR says you have to go and look at this, what you're doing, you're re-refereeing.
VAR do that every week. VAR do that all the time.
VAR gets
Why is this any different? He has ducked. There is absolutely no action there that says he is interfering with play.
But we've gone through that.
What's the action? What is the action that they've gone with there? Can you tell me that?
I've told you.
The fact that he's just moved out the way, that's not an action.
But he's moved out of the way to clear the ball, so his impact on the goal. That was the decision.
Yeah,
wait. The decision was disallowed on field, and that's what I'm explaining to you. You can ask me till 12 o'clock when we go off air.
But the fact that
I can only
moved
tell
out
you
the way.
How did you see it?
I love Dermot. Jay pushes Dermot's button.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Christmas party for Ref Watch this year.
To be fair, I can understand. It's a difficult one. Both managers will feel disappointed. I understand what Jay's saying. Andy Robertson, he's not in Donnarumma's eye line. Donnarumma, when Van Dijk heads the ball, Donnarumma is looking at the ball. Regardless if Robertson's there or not, I don't think he knows he can't save it. But then I can see it from the other point of view where he might have just had a little look at him and thought, OK, Andy Robertson there. But he didn't take his eye off it. So I'd feel aggrieved on both parts. If I was Liverpool, I'd feel aggrieved. And if I was Man City and they allowed the goal, I'd be disappointed as well. So you can understand. But it took a long time, didn't it? And I do believe, in the end, I'm not sure if it was the right decision or not.
The one point that Dermot made this morning, which I think is an important one, is that phrase clear and obvious. That if the assistant referee has flagged, whether Andy Robertson is interfering to a certain extent is an interpretation of the rule. Now, if the assistant on field has made that rule, as Dermot said this morning, Michael Oliver is re-refereeing the game if he then says, actually, I don't think he is interfering. Yeah,
and I totally get that. But correct me if I'm right or wrong. Wasn't the same referee have a decision last year when it was Man City v Wolves? It was the same referee, and he gave the goal. So it's a difficult one at the end of the day. And obviously, the linesman gives it, VAR get involved. VAR is there to help the referee if he doesn't get it right. And I can understand why Liverpool feel aggrieved. I can totally get it. You can tell me, if Robertson takes 3 yards this side way and he's right in front of Donnarumma when he heads it, then I totally get it. But he's to the right of him. So I can understand why Liverpool and Arne Slot feel aggrieved by it.
Yeah, I think the other point is, which is not necessarily relevant to the officials' decisions, but he's not getting there, Donnarumma, and I don't think if Andy Robertson is out the way, he's getting there, is he?
That's why Liverpool feel aggrieved, but then I can understand it from Man City's point of view as well. So both managers would have been disappointed, but Liverpool were the ones who missed out on the end. But yeah, if it was against me and I was one of the Liverpool players, I was Van Dijk. After you let me go and celebrate, I'd be fuming.
You moaned about most decisions.
Exactly, of course I did.
Memory. The eagle eye amongst you will have noticed that our chief correspondent, Kaveh Solokol, has sneaked in on set. This is very formal, thank you. Kaveh, as Clinton touched on there, Liverpool aren't happy with that decision, and you understand why.
Look, I don't think it's a case of sour grapes, but Liverpool obviously feel that a big mistake was made yesterday. And what they've done today is contact PGMOL to raise significant concerns about what happened yesterday. They feel a mistake was made, the goal should not have been ruled out. And what Liverpool have done is look at this incident today from multiple angles. And every angle that they've looked at it from says to them that Donnarumma's line of vision was not being impeded by Andy Robertson, and also that Andy Robertson ducking didn't impact Donnarumma's ability to try and make the save. And they just don't understand why the VAR didn't get involved and say, look, this was a goal, the goal needs to stand. Now, I know some people will be saying, oh, Liverpool are moaning, they're complaining, they ended up losing the game anyway. They accept the fact, I think, that they were second best. This is not a case of Liverpool saying, oh, if it wasn't for this mistake, we would have gone on to win the game. I think Arne Slot himself yesterday said, look, first half, definitely they were much the better side than us. But I think Liverpool just feel this was an obvious mistake, and that's why they're getting in touch with Howard Webb. And to be fair to PGMOL, they have this policy of being open and transparent, and they say to clubs, look, if you've got any concerns, contact us and we will have constructive and private discussions and dialogue.
I make Liverpool right, because when you watch it back and keep watching it back, Andy Robertson has to duck, because if he doesn't duck, it's going to hit him. As we watched it before, Donnarumma is always looking at the ball. Never once does he look at Andy Robertson. And Carve's right, Arne Slot did accept it. They weren't nowhere near good enough. But it changes a game. When you score like that, Van Dijk, that goes to 1-1. I don't care what anyone says. It changes the whole dynamic of the game, and Liverpool get confidence there. So, yeah, when you watch it even more now, you do realise maybe that goal should have stood.
We could talk about this for a lot longer, but time is racing away from us there. Thank you very much.